Welcome guys. So in this video we want to talk about solving equations, and we will move further away from the last video in which we talked about some basics of solving equations with rather simple operations. So we talked about solving additions, subtractions, multiplications and divisions, and in this video today we will move further and talk about more difficult examples like roots or powers. So basically, before starting off, what you need to know is that in order to solve square roots you need powers, and in order to solve powers you need square roots. So let's just start right away to make it simple. So first of all, with square roots, so if you have an equation which looks similar to this one, which is then the square root of x equal to 6, what you need to know is first of all the logic behind that. So if you have a square root, you're basically getting a smaller number in the end, so that means x needs to be definitely larger than 6. So in order to solve this, what you need to know is basically the methodology behind powers and square roots, so that they basically contradict. So the square root basically reverses what the power does to a number. So what we do now is basically we have the square root of x equal to 6, and we need to square this. So what we do now is we put that square root of x into brackets, square it, and we also square 6. And now after having squared those two, we know that the square root of something squared is what is underneath the square root, so we will be left with an x, and on the right side we will be left with 36, and it's just as simple as that. So if you have now more difficult square roots, like for example the third or the fourth root of x, you will basically do it with taking a higher power. So then, for example, if you have the third root, you would take then the number to the power of 3. So now there are two cases for the powers which we need to discuss, and we'll start with the uneven powers. So now imagine you have an equation that looks like this, so x to the power of 3 equal to 27. As I mentioned before, square roots and powers, they are reversing each other's steps. So we will start from x to the power of 3. We need to use the square root, and we need to use the third root for this one. So we will also then do it in a good manner and write it next to it. So the third root, we will write it this way then for the equation. And what we do on the left side is what we do on the right side, as you might know from the last video on how to solve equations. So here again the root of 27, and what we are left now with is basically that those two, as we had before with the roots, will cancel out each other, so that we will be left with x on the left side, and this, if you type it in your calculator or also calculate it in your head, this will be in the end x equal to 3. Why do we start off with the uneven powers and not with the even powers? It's because with uneven powers, so no matter whether it's x to the power of 3 or x to the power of 5, this is always going to be one specific solution in the end. So it only can be x equal to 3. So only one solution. However, if we have even powers, so we will start now talking about x squared equal to 25 as an example. It's the same procedure as with uneven powers. So again, use now the normal square root that we also used in the first example. So square root of x squared equal to the square root of 25. And also don't forget to write it next to the equation what you're doing, because this is mostly like some formula that is necessary in some schools, because I remember in my school it was necessary to always write it this way. In exams, but if you have like multiple choice exams, it doesn't matter at all. So to get back to the example now, what we have now is square root of x squared equal to the square root of 25. And as simple as that, again, those two cancel out and we are left with an x. And from what we know in math, the square root of 25 is 5. However, now there's the clue why we cannot just solve simply even powers, because we know that it is x equal to 5. However, there are two solutions in this example for even powers, because it could also be minus 5, because minus 5 squared is also going to be a positive 25, which means then that for even powers there are two solutions possible. So that we have a positive solution and a negative solution. Because as you can see, if we would square this, you would be left with a positive number in the end, which is the same as we had over here. So this is basically what you need to remember then, that uneven powers can be solved immediately and with no further processing, with no further thinking. However, even powers have to be solved with more attention, I would say, because there are always like tasks in exams which can be misleading, because your teacher might say calculate all possible solutions, and you would just, if you would have calculated an uneven power before, you would also only calculate one solution for the even powers if you don't remember that there are two solutions possible. So this is something that you need to keep in mind. However, for the square roots, as we talked in the beginning, it's rather basic. It's not any hidden step in between that you also need to remember. So to conclude this, even powers 2 solutions, uneven powers 1 solution. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope it was helpful. Other than that, subscribe to my channel and follow me on my social media for updates on the videos. And also, if you have specific questions on mathematical problems, maybe tips or tricks for learning, then either send me a message through social media or comment down below. And I hope you will be here for my next video as well.